Ladies and gentlemen, we are the ethical achievers and we want to present our solution of this case. In our case, the main character Roman, who is an equity analyst, has to prepare a sectoral report which contains of 5 recommendations of banking stocks. A special condition is a severe economic and financial crisis. That is why Roman receives a direct call from his boss, which highly recommends and tries to persuade not to make any decisions that conflict the general market opinion. Consequently, Roman double checks his models and being sure of the model's capability, insist on releasing his report as it is.
So here we have quite tricky situation. He decided to actually send his report to the clients, and we have 2 standards. Firstly, we have standard 3A, which is duties to the client, loyalty, prudence and care. Secondly, we have standard 4A, which is duties to the employer, loyalty. And it's a quite tricky situation, but we know that standards 3 told us that first we need to achieve interest of the clients, then interest of employers, and finally interest of the members and candidates. So our Roman do actually write that he first treat interest of the clients and actually sends this report that he thinks that it is right. Actually, standard for a loyalty to the employers told about independence practice. This standard told us that it's not actually very good to work independently against and with conflict of interest with your employer. However, this standards not absolutely pursued members and candidates of doing so. So actually, our Roman doesn't evaluate any of the standards. Also, we have situation that it is conflict of interest. Also, it is right in the standard that employers are not obligated to achieve ethical standards. However, members and candidates are obligated of doing so. So here we have typical conflict of interest, which is about for a disclosure of the conflict. Standard 4A told us that members and candidates must disclosure all possible conflicts with employers, colleagues and clients, but here we have it. And finally, if actually our Roman sent the report, he need to tell it to his employer. And we have here 3C, standard 3C suitability. Roman need to tell to his clients all possible risks that could occur.
So the next, I propose to discuss the second question. As you can see, so standard 1C prohibits members and candidates from guaranteeing clients of any return of these investments. Many investments contain some elements of risks that makes their return inherently unpredictable. For such investments, as you know, guaranteeing either a particular rate of return or guaranteeing preservation of investments capital is misleading to investors. So, as you know, standard 1C doesn't prohibit members and candidates from providing clients with their information on investment product and have guarantees built into the structure. If according to the standard 3D, research and analytics promotion the success of a currency of their recommendation must ensure that this recommendation that their clients should be as you can see, fair, accurate, and complete. As you know, also Roman double-checked his models, and he was sure that their model will grade justified. And also, Roman exercised diligence, independence in analyzing the model, and had a reasonable basis supported by appropriate research and investigation. Consequently, he ensured report unchanged. So, as a result, we think that Roman's initial decision was correct from the point of view of basic behavior and standards of professional conduct.
Oh, yeah, and the third question is a little bit change information. So here in this citation, the first, what will be the result of his decision, of Roman's decision, the client will probably lose their benefits, the probable profit from the stock operation, if he advised to, if he give the recommendation all sales position. Then it can cause also, if all these recommendations are not reasonable, as it turns out later, it will cause the loss for the reputation for the firm and doubt the professionalism of Roman. In such situation, he violates the standard first B, independence and objectivity, because he does not make sure independent conclusion, and he also violates the standard 3A, loyalty, prudence and care, because he thinks about himself as he worried about his job security and not about the interests of client. That is why he also violates the standard 3A. And the last part of that question, if Roman did not exercise diligence, independence in his recommendation, in providing his recommendation, if he had no reasonable and adequate basis, which supported by the appropriate research and investigation, if he didn't check his model and just release it and reject any suggestions to revise it, it would violate the standard 5A, diligence and reasonable basis.
And to answer the last question, we use CFA Institute Ethical Decision-Making Framework. If we were in such situation as Roman, after his boss called him and after his pressure to issue only sell recommendations, to examine the rightness of his words, we would not only check our model by ourselves, but also refer to independent analyst to verify the accuracy of the report, and our next decision will be guided by the independent expert's opinion. So if his conclusion is positive, then we will inform our manager about it and insist on issuing the report we made before. And if our expert's opinion is negative, then we will review the report, change the model by making reasonable assumptions, inform the boss about changes in our report, and then issue it, our reasonable report. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So I guess I'll go first.
Yep.
Do you think that Roman should have added the manager's opinion or comments to his report? Or included the manager's opinion?
Of course, he should, but if these comments has some facts based on. We knew the citation only that both say about Bloomberg and Reuters articles, not about direct factors which can really influence this recommendation. So if he provides such information, we will include this information. But we have only opinion, no facts. So we do not think it will be necessary.
Would you suggest someone additional to independent opinion of analysts to help you, to help Roman find a good solution? Is there anyone in the company to look in this situation? Not only independent opinion of another analyst, but somebody else. Do you know who can be this person?
It's possible that we would refer not only to independent analysts but to other supervisors of the firm to ask their opinion about this report, and then based on their suggestions we can try to find out the accurate decision and then issue it.
What if Roman would decide to take a kind of safe position and not change report and not issue this report with his recommendations and wait for a month or two until the market turns and then it will be safe to issue a report? Would that imply violation of any standards or imply ethical issue?
Yeah, it will probably violation of the standard about communication, the five standard communication with clients, especially with the key clients. We have information that he is going to have a meeting with his key clients to let them know first about his recommendations, and it will be a violation because this month his client will not have the information about their future decisions maybe or investments plan.
Yes, so it can be the violation of first standard about misrepresentation. If he knew about the factors that can influence on his report and don't tell it to his clients, then he is not professional and it's violation.
So let's suppose I'm a client of Roman's or of his firm, and based upon his report, I buy these bank stocks that he recommends, and a month later, 50% of my investment is lost. What are you as Roman going to say to me?
It is a great example, thank you very much. If I were a Roman, I will say, sorry, but it is not you will say what you will say to me. It is a question because you lost your money, you trust me, and I just not do my job as I.
I will show the model and tell that I do everything correct and that it was no mistake in my model. And as we were talking in our case, due to the standard one, it's actually violation when investor guarantee 100% return. We don't guarantee anything, so we actually don't violate the standard.
Yeah, so if Roman was confident about his decision, then he don't violate standards.
Can I ask?
Of course.
About opinion and fact. You have said that if manager's opinion is based on fact.
Yeah.
Facts. Then you would add.
Yeah.
Can you explain how will you differentiate opinion and fact?
Yeah, of course. Opinion. It is what he can't prove by, for example, model. He can show his own model, his own appropriate research or investigation for you. He can use help of other departments, for example, have his own models. If he shows these models to us and it is accurate, we will add. It is a fact. If he just says that you see the last news and you know that everything is falling, it is his own opinion and the opinion in general, but not for the some stocks that we are working with. So he just wants to have a safe position. Don't do any, movements now. Just wait, and we know that our model is working. So here, do not provide any models, any facts, any investigations. Only you see Bloomberg and Reuters in general opinion about market. So in such situation, we will define the opinion and facts.
I would like to ask a question about this genius. Actually, very interesting idea of using the third opinion from third-party analyst. Let's imagine that he's doing that without knowledge of his employer and shares the model with very respectful independent analyst, gets his opinion. Do you think in this case would be some standards violated, some issues will be
Of
raised?
course. Answer that question. Of course, it will be a violation of the standard because of that Roman works in the firm. He is obligated to inform his manager or bosses about his decision to post some information issue reports. So only after that he can issue it.
It is about standard for a loyalty. It is
Yeah.
written in the standard.
So yeah, he of course should. His model, when he is working with the data of company, is also includes the information from the company. So it is a property of company too. He can't just bring it to someone else without knowing his.
And of course, if it will be also third party decision, he will need to write this in his report to not to evaluate the standard about misrepresentation.
So again, let me just follow up. So Roman goes to an independent analyst, as we talked about, and the independent analyst said, "Well, I agrees with the manager," and said, "This is not a buy; it should be a sell."
In this case, he need to change his report.
So if we receive the facts, these facts, this independent manager not just say, Bloomberg and something like that, but bring us a real model and his investigation, as we ask. So we will, of course, revise our report and just make the conclusion.
Okay, and so my question is, why does the independent analyst know more than Roman does?
We don't think that he knew
Okay.
more, but we need some help to solve this and to show the action what we are doing to our boss, for example, to do not violate the standard. Because if we have some conflict or the other opinion with our boss, we should not just say you're not right, but also prove the evidence. For example, this decision, even if this manager know not more than us.
The case doesn't mention if Roman is a CFA charter holder or not. And do you think that would cause a difference in his actions if he was charter holder or not in this situation?
Okay, in our case, we were assuming that he is actually a member of CFA, so he is obligated to follow all the standards, but also if he is not member but he knew about the standards and he obtained it, so he needs to follow them actually.
With the manager, let's suppose the manager was a CFA charter holder. Would he violate or she violate any standards by asking Roman to change his opinion from a buy to a sell?
Yes, of course, she violated by making an influence on his employees. For example, even he can or she will influence the independence and objectivity of this investigation. So it is also the violation of the standard to do so.
First B standard.
Okay, thank you.
So any question?
I'm without
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.